What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Logic, the unsung hero, the hero you didn't know you needed. What's good? And as of late, me being a red pill resident, pretty new to the space, more of a novice than anything, but I think I'm starting to get a clear understanding on, what the red pill's about and about the kind of mindset that you have to go in. You kind of got to go in a neutral space. You can't really, yes, there's red pill rage and you do got to burn through that a little bit and kind of settle in and then start absorbing the information, because when your emotions get in the way, you're gonna fuck up the information, right? So I never went in with rage, but I won't say that I wasn't mad. And there's a difference. I was mad at myself. A lot of mistakes that I made, a lot of opportunities that I missed, a lot of opportunities that I fucked up, and then going back and watching videos and then people recounting situations in which were very similar to my own, and not seeing certain signs and being like, hey man, you could have got a totally different outcome if you had this information, right? So at anything, I was more mad at myself than anything. And I'm a pretty logical person. I've always been known as someone who likes to debate topics. I'm not like some intelligent guru type of dude, but I like to use critical thinking. Not everybody has that privilege and that luxury or whatever, and I understand that. But what I would like to say to all men is that you have to get to that kind of point to where you can receive information in general, just to receive information in general. Because if if you're mad at how things are said or what is said, but you're not really taking it in as the information, you're really, not to label all women like this, but that's kind of like a woman's way of thinking, because they're emotional, and guys can be emotional too. But with this topic being very particular and about women, which is about most of the focus that men, everything men do typically is probably for a woman. And whether they're making money doing this, doing that, they're trying to attract a woman, whether it be directly, indirectly, whatever. And to throw a monkey wrench in a lot of men's plans that they thought they knew what was going on, it can be a little frustrating. So you gotta take your time to heal and whatever, and then start diving in and absorbing this knowledge. But as of recently, what is starting to become more prevalent, as the evolution of the manosphere, the red pill, starts to take place, is they're starting to introduce women into the space. Some people say this was inevitable. This is, moving forward. We have to change some things, this, that, and the other. And look, I'm not a red pill expert. Like I said, I've only been in this community for about a year or year and a half or whatever. I don't think it's a good idea. I just don't think it's a good idea. I understand. I'm not against women necessarily being used as an example. So if you talk about Fresh and Fit, how they bring women on, they have these certain conversations to kind of prove to men that this is kind of the mind state. It's one thing to hear from me, it's another thing to hear from the horse's mouth. And that's one thing, right? But when you start having red pill female content creators and this and that, first of all, this goes for men too, but typically you don't really know what their motive is coming in, for one. And then what happens is when you start letting female manosphere, whatever, content creators in, the next level up is to just let outside women in general in, as far as doing interviews and having these conversations. And where you would think that would be, that would make sense, I'm starting to see that destructive nature come out. when women start picking apart what they do and don't like in anything. You know what I'm saying? And women are the gatekeepers to like social media. Like they're the gatekeepers to mainstream. If you can appease women, you will get into the mainstream. Tell you the truth, whether you do one or the other, whether you appease them or you make them angry, you can find yourself making it into mainstream, for better or for worse, right? And women are starting to paint this narrative. This is literally what it is. Like, women are peeking into the locker room, overhearing how men speak and how they communicate, and they're reporting back to base. Now, they might hide it as, I want to do an interview with you, I want to pick your brain, or whatever. And what happens is we're falling for the female nature all over again. We're thinking that they're being sincere, and then you watch it backfire. Case in point, Michaela Peterson, right? She started fucking with Rolo. Now she's on the roommates. She obviously didn't take in really any of the information. She had something that she needed to say off her chest. She said it, and then she kind of, for image purposes or whatever, she had to keep the interview going and talk about his book and this and that, and just to make it seem like she wasn't just there to yell at Rolo. And then after the whole thing said and done, she makes sure she posts up the clip that she wants to be seen, which to her is what's really the most important part. That right there just tells you that you can't trust females in male spaces. The female's nature cannot mix with male nature in our spaces. It just, we operate on totally different systems. We're blunt, we're harsh, we're direct. We don't give a fuck about feelings. We can't let women in these spaces. You know, you're trying an experiment, right? I get it. But I think at this point, we kind of understand what's going to happen. Hell, you know, we could do, I mean, there's certain experiments that you really don't have to go all the way in to kind of like just do some predictions, right? But see, I understand, women, like, because the red pill more or less exists on YouTube, a visual media, we understand that men like to look at females and this and that, so it does help with the getting the clicks and shit. But we have to, as men should, we have to show a level of integrity, honor, respect to the brand, and know that we gonna have to make that sacrifice where we just can't let women in the space. Fuck it, you just can't. You know, the red pill should be like the sacred grail or the hidden map that men heard in whispers and have to seek out on their own. You know, and it has to be like an exclusive club or whatever. It has to be. You, like you said, it can't and should not go mainstream. It's really a formula on how to better men's life, but it really only works when no one else knows about it. Well, only men know about it, because it's almost reactive to a degree. Women do this. This is how you kind of react to it. Whatever. There's a lot of reactionary points that are made, but if women know how the red pill works, well then obviously they're gonna change up their plans, and then you're gonna have to switch up the whole red pill. And then, but remember, they already know the red pill exists, so they'll constantly be checking in and keeping updates. Like, male nature almost has to, like, female nature can't know about male nature. Male nature can know about female nature because we know how to separate feelings and logic. Women will not separate feelings and logic. So them knowing our nature will really corrupt them and fuck them up. That's just how I think. That's just how, from being around family and girls and this is just how it is. Okay, here's another point. When females when comic books started getting infiltrated by SJWs and females and shit like that, you started slowly watching the hot women and chicks in comic books where they used to wear like the skimpy like spandex clothes and stuff. They started wearing, now they're wearing baggy jeans and vests and t-shirts, and their chests are getting smaller, all this type of shit. This is a male space. I get it. There's comic books for women too, but generally speaking, comic books were made for men. And now our favorite characters are looking different, acting different, saying little slick, feminist level shit, and it's fucking up the male space because they wanted to be all inclusive. They thought it'd be a good idea. Maybe women should have more voices in a male space. Like, what the fuck? There's not enough of them to support a dying industry anyway. Comic books is a dying industry. Let me enjoy it while it dies slowly. Don't be kicking me on the way down by letting these bitches in and fucking up the content, the stories. And then slowly it rolls into the movies. And you know, every male space. Now movies aren't necessarily a male space, but there are male movies where they're starting to do little dumb shit in there. Any male space, if you add a female, it's just disruptive. Whether there's infighting between the guys, because guys are competitive by nature, so they're trying to fight for the affection of the rare only chick that's in the group. Whether the chick comes up with little ideas and scenarios that go against our way of thinking, and because we're feeling a little bit compassionate, we try to, next you know, we're changing up our whole thing. We can't talk the way we want to talk because they're around. There's no good can come from a woman invading the male space. If anything, a woman and a man has to come together and make a unified space, i.e. like your home. Let's say you marry a chick, or you feel like cohabitating with a chick, and y'all have to come together and learn to work together. See, that's one thing, but the house was never just one house. It wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It was empty, and then y'all came and y'all filled it. The manosphere is filled already. We have men in here that are seeking out attention, as far as like drawing attention to their issues, troubles, problems, whatever. Trying to find out strategies, trying to cope and like ease their mental state, and just help better understand the world, how they become a better man. And whether you see a couple videos, now don't get me wrong, not everything in the manosphere is perfect. Yes, we joke on girls and stuff because that's how men are. We joke about our problems. We shit on each other about our problems. This is how men communicate. And now when a woman comes in here and starts talking about, man, they really talk like this, they really talk like that. Look, you got to take the good with the bad. And that's always how men how men thought, especially when you go out into the world. You take the good with the bad. This is not a utopia. This is not a peaceful place. There are very huge dynamics, especially when it comes to men, women, good, bad, whatever. It is what it is. You have to, men will seek out what they need. Every man that goes to school don't come out a genius. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't receive, maybe they didn't receive the information, whatever. But we don't necessarily blame the school. We blame the kid for being a fuck up. All right, and that's kind of like how it is in the manosphere. If you come into the manosphere and you can't take the information and use critical thinking, this and that, you're a fuck up. And we hold men accountable of being fuck ups. It's one thing that the world doesn't do for women. They don't tell women that they're fuck ups. So you will start to slowly see the manosphere degrade if they keep introducing women. Donovan Sharp, one of my favorite content creators. He's in my top 5 content creators. And he's starting to slowly put these females in. Now, don't get me wrong. He's probably vetted these females out. And I'm sure they got great talking points. But I have seen a few of these women slip and say some weird ass shit. But we can chalk it up to female nature. It is what it is. But what ends up happening is other content creators see what you're doing. They start implementing the same thing, and then maybe you did it better than them, but remember, the manosphere is not just one person. So now when one person does one thing, they're starting to latch on. Just like when Fresh and Fit started putting on girls for just to explore female nature, other channels start doing it. So every new step one or two creators take is gonna spread, and not everybody can execute that shit. I just say don't do it at all, so you don't put the idea in nobody's head. She said he brought that one female on the coffee pod, and once they start talking about fresh and fit, she started going fucking ham. I ain't seen her since. I don't know what's happened between she said and that By Fleecy chick, but it goes to show you, you cannot bring women into these spaces. Just don't do it. It is what it like. This should be. It should be like, I always call like the comic book store like the Fortress of Solitude or the man cave or whatever. It's where typically men go and can cut loose. We can't have females in places where we cut loose. Period. It just don't work. Let the roommates deal with bitches like that. Let them go over there and soften up the message and bring on females and play off and play to their nature and shit like that. That's fine. They could do that shit over there. They said they ain't in the manosphere. It's fine, whatever. I understand Fresh and Fit said they ain't in the manosphere, but they still do a manosphere like content. It's whatever. Whether you're in the group, it's like you're not on the basketball team, but you still play basketball. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, yeah, they might not be on the team, but they still play basketball. So it is what it is. Stop bringing females in. Jessica X, I thought when I first got in the manosphere and I heard of Jessica X and stuff, and I was like, oh, she's kind of cool. But then soon as controversy started popping up between male creators and she started wanting to throw her 2 cents, I'm like this. You know what a woman's place is between men are going at each other? On the fucking sidelines, minding her own fucking business and keeping her mouth shut, because all it takes is a woman to slip up and say some dumbass shit and it'll escalate. When men are going through shit, women need to stay the fuck out of it. Period. But she was already in the male space. She was already welcomed with open arms in the male space. She felt like she had a right to chime in and talk about it. This is what happens when you let women into male spaces. We got to stop. I understand. You think it's going to evolve your channel. You think you're going to get more views and this and that. Stop. It sucks because I want y'all to make money, but at the same time, you almost got to be noble and helpful, and you almost got to take the L on there's certain unethical things that, like, men have to be honorable, loyal, stoic. There's all these buzzwords that typically are related to masculinity. Words that when you say them on their own, you will not associate a woman to do it. We have to have the standards. We have to, put our best foot forward and shit like that. And you just, and I'm gonna tell you like this: you can't do it with a woman around. You can't do it with a woman around. Not like this. Like it's one thing when you can I'm gonna say the word control, but when it's like your chick specifically, and you've handpicked her, and she's catering to you and acquiescing to your like lifestyle and personality and stuff, that's fine. She's your personal chick. But when y'all letting them in this manosphere and start damn near grabbing intel and then bringing it out, and then the mainstream starting to get a whiff of it, and then next thing you know, they're gonna start coming in and trying to pick it apart and tear it apart and start labeling y'all as extremists and shit, then y'all gonna really fucking understand what I meant when I said stop bringing females in. And on top of that, I don't think it should go mainstream. At one point I thought it should go mainstream because I wanted the message to get out to more people, and you know what I came to realization? Men have to seek it out. We can't put it out for them. They have to come seek it out. That's just the way it has to be. We're like that hidden temple on the top of a mountaintop, like fucking Doctor Strange when he had to climb up. He was looking for answers. There wasn't a commercial for the monks on the top of the fucking mountain saying, come heal your hands. He had to be diligent. He had to be like desperate. He had to be like, hey, I need to find help, and a man will go through everything to find it. And then when he finally does, he'll be relieved. He'll find a community that'll welcome with open arms, and then hopefully he's in the right mental state to take in this knowledge. But that's how it has to be. The manosphere needs to be sought after. We cannot be putting it out there to where everybody can get their hands on it. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my take. I'm sorry this video went on for a long time, but the manosphere cannot go mainstream. I finally realized that, and we have to get women out of these spaces. Period. This is your boy Logic, the unsung hero. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.